RAKOSI. Problems of Ideological and Theoretical Work in the Communist Party of Hungary. From For a Lasting Peace, for a People's Democracy, number 8, in parentheses 11, Thursday, April 15th, 1948. In its policy, the Communist Party is guided by the theory elaborated by Marx, and further developed and applied in the epoch of imperialism, proletarian revolutions, and the building of socialism by Lenin and Stalin. This theory, states Comrade Stalin, demands that the party should be able to find at the given moment the particular link in the chain of processes which, once grasped, makes it possible to hold the entire chain and prepare the conditions for achieving strategic success. The point is, continues Comrade Stalin, to be able to judge which of the tasks facing the party is the task of the day, the solution of which is the central issue, and ensures the successful carrying out of all the other tasks. In the light of the above, a review of the work of the Communist Party of Hungary since the liberation shows that in each given period we were able to find the corresponding link in the chain. The main thing in the period immediately after the liberation was to secure the consolidation of the democratic forces. The next link in building up Hungarian democracy was the land reform, which was followed by economic rehabilitation. The elections held in 1945 showed that reaction constituted a serious threat to the foundations of our democracy, not only politically but also economically, by devaluating our currency. In the circumstances, our party deemed it essential to put an end to inflation and stabilize the currency, considering this an important link which, to quote Lenin, must be grasped in every possible way in order to retain the whole chain and thoroughly prepare the going over to the next link. The success of stabilization strengthened the economic foundation of our democracy and helped to defeat reaction, which had become entrenched in the smallholders' party. Then followed the nationalization measures and the 3-year plan. The economic and political successes in the development of Hungarian democracy furnished the conditions for the fusion of the two workers' parties and for consolidating the National Democratic Front. This is the task facing us today. Raising the theoretical level of party members. The next link in the chain is unquestionably that of raising the ideological and theoretical level of our party. Lenin's teaching that only a party guided by an advanced theory can carry out the role of vanguard fighter is as true today as it was then. During the past 3 years, the party has been so taken up with the day-to-day work that it has paid but scant attention to theoretical training. We have not, as yet, placed on the order of the day the development of Marxist theory on the basis of Lenin-Stalin methods, have not made a thorough study of the essential problems linked with the growth of Hungarian democracy. Lenin said that communists must constantly enrich Marxist theory in all spheres if they do not want to be behind the times. It must be acknowledged that we did not pay the necessary attention to deepening and elaborating Marxist theory. We are threatened by the danger about which Stalin said, quote, "If for some reason or other party propaganda begins to limp, if the Marxist-Leninist education of party cadres begins to suffer, if the work of raising the political and theoretical level of the cadres grows weaker, and the cadres as a result of this cease to be interested in the perspective of the party's forward movement, cease to understand the justice of the party's cause, and become people without perspective, it means that all state and party work will begin to suffer. It must be regarded as an axiom that the higher the political level and Marxist-Leninist consciousness of workers in any branch of state and party work, the better and more fruitful the work itself, the more effective the result of the work, whereas the lower the political level and Marxist-Leninist consciousness of the workers, the greater the chances of interruptions and failure in the work." Unquote. To avoid disruption and failure in our work, we have placed on the order of the day the task of raising the theoretical level of our party. We are devoting much more attention to political education than all the other parties taken together. over 120,000 members have graduated various party schools or courses. But this is absolutely inadequate, especially if it is borne in mind that the overwhelming majority of the students attended only 3 weeks courses or courses of even shorter duration. The figure 120,000 shows that 5/6 of our members have not had any systematic theoretical training whatsoever. An idea of the magnitude of the task facing the party in the sphere of education can be had from the fact that over 90% of the members joined the party after the liberation. Then there are other circumstances which threaten to lower the Marxist-Leninist ideological level of our party. The exposure of the right Social Democrats made our Social Democratic comrades realize that the existence of rival working-class parties was altogether unnecessary, and that this inter-party rivalry was most detrimental not only to the interest of the working people, but to Hungarian democracy as a whole. A spontaneous movement for the formation of a united workers' party gained ground among the working class. Thousands of Social Democratic comrades expressed their desire to join our party. For the time being, we have stopped recruiting new members, but thousands of people are impatiently waiting for the day when entry into the party will be renewed. The question of the fusion of the two parties was decided at the recent Congress of the Social Democratic Party. However, as stressed by the leading Social Democratic comrades, the ideological basis for fusion must be Marxism-Leninism, so that in a few months' time, thousands of former Social Democratic members of the United Party will be fully justified in demanding that we acquaint them with the teaching of Marxism further elaborated by Lenin and Stalin. But this is only one aspect of the task facing us. Apart from the Social Democratic comrades, our party is being joined by the people from the peasant population and by the intelligentsia. For instance, in the province of Zemplén alone, 5,000 small peasants, teachers and doctors joined our ranks in the month that preceded the closing of recruitment. These peasant people have come to us not because they are acquainted with Marxist-Leninist theory, but because of their convictions, which have taken shape in the course of 3 years' observation and experience, that our party is the most consistent and honest party, is the party that most successfully represents and defends the interests of the working people of Hungary. These peasants and representatives of the intelligentsia will bring with them not only their sentiments of sympathy for our party, but also various prejudices and mistaken conceptions. Unless we take timely measures to provide thousands of new people who will be joining our ranks during the coming weeks and months with the minimum theoretical and ideological education, then the theoretical level of our party, none too high at the moment, may be lowered still more. Immediate measures. Should this be so, our party will be unable to cope with the problems which the people of Hungary expect to solve, and precisely because we, as the leading party of democracy, must extend and not restrict our work, we must place on the order of the day the problem of raising the theoretical level of the party. The political bureau of the party, in discussing this matter, reached the conclusion that we have a number of shortcomings in the sphere of theoretical work. The political bureau, for its part, has also failed up to now to give a Marxist-Leninist interpretation of the main problems relating to the development of Hungarian democracy and the new democracy. As a result, incorrect views prevailed in our party and even in the political bureau itself regarding the essence of the people's democracy, views which doubted the thesis that the people's democracy is an important stage in building socialism. Some doubted that nationalization and state control had resulted in qualitative changes in the economic structure of our country. The political bureau stated that further neglect of theoretical work threatened our party with danger. A party that fails to elaborate theoretical problems can commit serious political mistakes. The political bureau therefore decided to set up a permanent committee that will make a Marxist-Leninist study of the problems of our democracy, will control theoretical work and expose all inimical so-called theories. This committee includes the leading theoreticians of our party. As we know, ever since the end of the war, the Communist Party of the Soviet Union Bolsheviks has devoted serious attention to theoretical and ideological work, resolutely eliminating the shortcomings in this sphere. On a number of occasions, The Central Committee is subjected to detailed criticism, shortcomings in Soviet literature, philosophy, theater, cinema, and music, and outlined the paths for cultural development in socialist society. Similar work has been initiated in some of the new democracies. The time has come for us, Hungarian communists, also to set about raising our theoretical level. We must draw the daily press into this work. In the Soviet Union, the newspapers widely feature Central Committee and government decisions on ideological questions. We must see to it that the Sunday edition of the newspaper Sabat Nep makes a point of dealing with urgent ideological problems. Experience shows that there is considerable interest in theoretical matters, and it is imperative for the future development of our party that we satisfy this demand as best we can. Our theoretical magazine, Tarsha Dalmi Shemle, should in future give place to theoretical articles. It should criticize in the first place works claiming to be Marxist but which frequently contain serious theoretical errors. In order to cope with the new tasks in the sphere of party education, we are reorganizing and extending our party schools, reviewing the curriculum and the materials used in studies. Much of the material we have been using is obsolete and no longer corresponds to the developments in Hungarian democracy. Often it was prepared in haste and moreover contained serious errors. It is necessary also to elaborate new methods of self-study since the old methods are unsatisfactory. In view of this, we shall have to reorganize the publication of theoretical literature. The job of raising the theoretical level of our members is hampered by the fact that certain Marxist works are either not available in translation or are out of print. Party members who know only the Hungarian language have no idea whatsoever of the bulk of the works by Lenin and Stalin. The principal task of our party now is to master Marxist-Leninist theory and to raise our theoretical level. The success and prestige won by our party are due in the first place to the fact that the party was guided and inspired by Marxist-Leninist theory. If we fail to raise the theoretical level of the party, we shall freeze its development, and this will lead to major errors. We are interested that our party in the future too shall march in the vanguard of the people, that it will in ever greater measure serve the cause of securing the prosperity and development of our country. That is why we must study and develop Marxist-Leninist theory, the faithful compass of our party. Today, this theory represents the main Lenin link, which we must seize with all our strength.